You're lying in bed, eyes half closed when you see it. A dark figure standing at the edge of your vision. No features, no face, just a human-shaped shadow that shouldn't be there. You blink, and it's gone. Welcome to one of the most commonly reported paranormal experiences in the world, shadow people encounters. If you've experienced this, you're not alone. Millions of people across different cultures, ages, and backgrounds report seeing these mysterious dark figures. But what exactly are shadow people? Are they supernatural entities, tricks of the mind, or something else entirely? Today, we're diving deep into this phenomenon to separate fact from fiction. What are shadow people? Shadow people are typically described as dark, humanoid silhouettes that appear in peripheral vision. They're usually seen as tall, thin figures, sometimes wearing what looks like a hat or hood. Most witnesses report that these figures seem aware of being observed and often disappear when looked at directly. The experiences follow surprisingly consistent patterns. People see them during sleep paralysis, in states of exhaustion, or in low-light conditions. They appear solid but without defined features, moving with purpose rather than floating aimlessly like traditional ghost sightings. What makes shadow people particularly unsettling is their apparent intelligence. Unlike hallucinations that might be random or nonsensical, shadow people seem to have intention. They watch, they move deliberately, and they react to being observed. The science behind the shadows. Let's start with what neuroscience tells us. Our brains are pattern recognition machines, constantly trying to make sense of incomplete visual information. In low light or peripheral vision, this system can go into overdrive. Sleep paralysis offers one compelling explanation. During this state, you're conscious but unable to move, caught between sleep and wakefulness. Your brain is still producing dream imagery while you're awake enough to perceive your real environment. This creates a perfect storm for seeing things that aren't there. Research shows that sleep deprivation, stress, and certain medications can increase the likelihood of these experiences. When we're exhausted, our brains struggle to process visual information correctly, potentially creating the illusion of shadowy figures. There's also something called pareidolia, our tendency to see familiar shapes in random patterns. Combined with our evolutionary predisposition to notice potential threats in our peripheral vision, this could explain why so many people see human-like shadows in ambiguous visual situations. Cultural and historical context. Shadow people aren't a modern phenomenon. Throughout history, different cultures have reported similar experiences under various names. The old hag in Anglo-Saxon folklore, the pinyin in China, and shadow beings in Native American traditions all share remarkably similar characteristics. This consistency across cultures suggests either a universal human experience or perhaps something more mysterious. Some researchers argue that if these were purely hallucinations, we'd expect more variation in how they're described across different societies. Interestingly, reports of shadow people have increased dramatically since the internet allowed people to share these experiences. This could indicate that people are simply more willing to discuss what they previously kept secret, or it might suggest a kind of cultural contagion, where hearing about the phenomenon makes people more likely to interpret ambiguous experiences as shadow people encounters. Types of shadow people encounters. Researchers have identified several distinct categories of shadow people experiences. The most common is the peripheral shadow, a dark figure caught in the corner of your eye that vanishes when you turn to look. These typically occur during normal waking hours and last only seconds. Then there's the bedroom watcher, a shadow figure seen standing in doorways or at the foot of beds, often during sleep paralysis episodes. These encounters tend to be more prolonged and frightening. Some people report shadow people that seem more interactive, appearing to react to the observer's presence or even attempt communication. These are less common, but tend to be more memorable and disturbing for those who experience them. There's also the Hat Man, a specific type of shadow person wearing what appears to be a wide-brimmed hat. This figure is reported so consistently across different witnesses that it's become a phenomenon unto itself. Medical and psychological explanations. From a medical standpoint, several conditions can contribute to shadow people experiences. Hypnagogic hallucinations occur when falling asleep, while hypnopompic hallucinations happen when waking up. Both can create vivid, realistic visions of figures or presences that aren't actually there. Mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, and PTSD can also increase the likelihood of these experiences. The brain's threat detection system becomes hyperactive, potentially interpreting innocent shadows as menacing figures. Certain medications, particularly those affecting dopamine or serotonin levels, can cause visual disturbances that might be interpreted as shadow people. Even something as simple as eye strain or dry eyes can create visual artifacts that the brain might interpret as shadowy figures. Neurological conditions affecting the visual cortex can also play a role. Migraines, for instance, can cause visual auras that might be mistaken for shadow people, especially in people who are already primed to interpret ambiguous stimuli in this way. The paranormal perspective. While science offers compelling explanations, many people remain convinced their experiences were genuinely supernatural. Paranormal researchers suggest shadow people might be interdimensional beings, spirits of the deceased, or entities from parallel realities occasionally glimpsed through tears in spacetime. Some theories propose that shadow people are time travelers from the future, explaining their apparent awareness and intelligence. Others suggest they're manifestations of negative energy or psychic imprints left behind by traumatic events. Believers point to the consistency of descriptions across cultures and the fact that multiple witnesses sometimes report seeing the same shadow figure in the same location. They argue that if these were purely psychological phenomena, we wouldn't expect such specific consistency. The electromagnetic theory suggests that shadow people might be detectable energy patterns that sensitive individuals can perceive under certain conditions. Some investigators claim to have recorded electromagnetic anomalies during shadow people encounters, though these findings remain controversial. Environmental factors. Certain environmental conditions seem to increase shadow people sightings. Old buildings, hospitals, and locations with high electromagnetic activity report more encounters. This could be due to the power of suggestion, or it might indicate that certain physical conditions contribute to the phenomenon. Low-frequency sound waves, called infrasound, can create feelings of unease and might contribute to visual disturbances. These sound waves are often present in older buildings due to structural issues or nearby industrial activity. Poor lighting conditions obviously play a role, but interestingly, some people report shadow people in well-lit environments. This suggests that lighting alone isn't the determining factor, though it certainly creates conditions where shadows and movement can be misinterpreted. Temperature changes and air pressure fluctuations might also contribute to the experience, either by affecting brain function or by creating actual shadow movements that get misinterpreted as supernatural entities. Personal experiences and testimonials. The most compelling aspect of shadow people encounters is how real they feel to those who experience them. Unlike dreams or obvious hallucinations, these experiences feel completely authentic and often occur when people are fully alert and rational. Many witnesses describe a profound sense of being watched or evaluated by these figures. Some report feeling malevolent intent, while others describe the shadow people as merely observing without apparent hostility. What's particularly interesting is how these experiences often change people's worldview. Even those who previously didn't believe in the paranormal find themselves questioning reality after a convincing shadow people encounter. The emotional impact is often significant and long-lasting. People describe feeling violated, frightened, or deeply unsettled by these experiences, sometimes for years afterward. Investigating shadow people. If you're experiencing shadow people encounters, there are practical steps you can take. First, consider your physical and mental health. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you under unusual stress? Are you taking any new medications? Document your experiences objectively. Note the time, lighting conditions, your mental state, and any environmental factors. Look for patterns that might reveal triggering conditions. Consider setting up a camera in locations where you've seen shadow people. While most recordings show nothing unusual, the act of investigating can help you approach the experience more rationally. If the experiences are causing significant distress or interfering with your daily life, consider speaking with a healthcare professional. They can help rule out medical causes and provide strategies for managing anxiety related to these experiences. The verdict. So what are shadow people? The honest answer is that we don't know for certain. The scientific evidence strongly suggests these are neurological phenomena, tricks of perception, sleep disturbances, and pattern recognition gone wrong. The consist.